everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of Warikoo, a place where we answer frequently asked questions about life. And I'm thoroughly impressed with the kind of questions that are coming in. There's just so many of them. So often we're asked the same questions, and I'm just so glad that I'm getting an opportunity to answer all of them one by one. In the last episode, someone asked, and this was a very applicable question, especially for today's times, which is, I hate my job. I don't like it at all. I would want to quit, but I have a financial responsibility, so what should I do? And this question was a really hard one to answer because essentially it's not as easy for anyone to say, hey, if you don't like your job, just quit. Because here there was an added question or a layer of, I have a financial responsibility and it's not easy for me to quit or to just simply give up and find another job. Today's question, slightly different, but the same context. I don't like my job, but thankfully, I don't have a financial responsibility. I don't have to earn for my living. So what should I do? And this is a good question. It's a very fortunate question to ask because very few of us would be in this spot where we don't like our job, yet we don't really have to earn for money. And we're doing it because we want to be employed, we want to be engaged, we want to keep our minds occupied. So what should one do and how should one think about this, especially in a time where things could be chaotic like we are in the middle of right now? So I go back to an example that I've shared quite often, and I will share this with all of you, and it's a parable. And the parable is a question, which is, how many of you have bought a chair before you sat on it? How many of you bought a chair without sitting on it? And the answer is no one. Well, there may be some smart people out there which are like, oh, I have bought a chair before sitting on it. I bought it online. Well, thank you, you smart Alec. What was the first thing that you did when the chair was delivered to you? Did you sit on it? Well, great. That's what my point was. None of us ever buy a chair without sitting on it. But why is that? A chair is a chair is a chair. It has four legs. It may have a back. It may have some side rest. But once you've seen a chair, you get an image of what the chair is. The reason why we all sit on chairs is because we want to feel whether the chair belongs to us. Like when we sit on it and when our bottoms touch the chair, does it feel right? Does it feel like this chair belongs to us? It was made for us. And it's a funny way of thinking about it, but that's what we essentially do. Now, a lot of people ask me, what is the purpose of life? And a lot of people mistakenly think that it is to find the chair meant for you. But here's my way of thinking about life. I don't think life is about finding the chair for you. Instead, life is about sitting on as many chairs as you can. Life is about sitting on as many chairs as you can. And doing it for the sheer joy of it, because you find so many different chairs that could fit you that you didn't even know of if you didn't go about searching for new chairs. And that is how I think you should think about your life, especially if you hate your job. If you hate your job, there could be several reasons behind it. We did dig into them in the previous episode, so do watch the previous one to get an understanding of that. But let's assume that you hate your job, you don't like it, and it's there to stay. You can't really do anything to fix it. And if that's the case, the worst thing that you can do to yourself is to continue in that job, especially if you don't have financial responsibilities. If you're not earning to make a living, this is the best space that you can be in, because not by choice, but by some serendipitous event, you are now placed in a position where you've sat on a chair and that chair does not belong to you. And you now have to get up and find another chair. I go back to this time when in 2011 or 12, my wife had quit her job and she'd been working for the last 10 years in demanding situations, in really large organizations where she genuinely loved her work, but it had gotten to her because it was 10 years of just intense working. And she wanted to take a break, and she did take a break. And when she wanted to come back to the workforce, I told her exactly the same thing that I would tell you right now, which is, you're in the most privileged spot that one can ever be in. You don't have to earn to make any family survive. So you don't have to really earn for money. And you can thus do whatever you want to do. Can you imagine the excitement around that? You can do whatever you want to do. And if you don't like it, do something else, and do something else, and do something else. If you do not have a pressure or a responsibility on you to earn money, you can be pretty much anyone that you want. And that's what she did. She dabbled with sales on a contract basis, so she was in control of her time. She dabbled with pottery. She dabbled with organic farming. She figured that that was something that was exciting because she loves outdoors. She loves producing her own food and whatnot. And today, she works in an organic farm. She thoroughly loves her job. It's ridiculous how low she gets paid, but she doesn't complain even a single day. Like, I see her genuinely enjoying her work. I see her so immersed and so fulfilled with what she does on a daily basis. She has control over her time, and yet she loves every piece of her work. And that is what I would wish for all of us. Now, it didn't come easy to her. It's not that it came in the first month or in the first 3 months. It came after 3 years of dabbling with different things, trying to see what worked and what didn't work. And it was just one random thing where a friend of hers pinged her about an organic farming workshop and asked her if she wanted to attend. And she signed up for that. She liked what the workshop was all about. She dug deep into it. She then interned on a part-time basis with that firm to just see whether it was something she wanted to do. And she realized she was really happy doing that. And she then completely said, this is what I would want to do. And now she works almost full-time with that company in meaningful capacities. Now, if you're particularly in your 20s, here is the best piece of advice that I can give you. Do not spend your time in the 20s trying to figure about what should I do to become the best CEO? What should I do to become the best in my field? What should I do to be in the best job, and so on? The 20s are only about one thing and one thing alone. What am I good at? What am I really good at? Because in your 30s, if you do figure what you are good at in your 20s, you just go about doubling down on that in the 30s. In the 30s, you just pick up that one thing that you're really good at and become super solid in it, like nobody else. So that by the time you hit 40 or so, you are so good with it that you can possibly retire because you've made so much money, or you're so good with it that it doesn't feel like work and you can continue working for the rest of your life and not feel any level of misery attached to it. But that's only going to happen if you spend your 20s in figuring out, what am I really good at? What is it that I thoroughly enjoy doing? What is it that I would perhaps do even for free if I had to? But it just gives me so much of peace, gives me so much of fulfillment, makes me feel like I'm worthy. And the best way to do that is to get as close to the sun as possible. Get as close to the sun as possible. Think of all the things that fascinate you. Think of all the things that you would want to do. Think of all the industries, all the companies that you would want to work in and in what capacities. And then pick up the individuals that you feel are the best in that trade and do whatever is required to work closely with them. Do whatever is required to learn from them. Do whatever is required to be in close quarters with them so that you get to learn what it is to be truly immersed in your work and be super, super good at it. That's the best thing. But so many of us are caught in just the entire struggle to make our existence worthwhile. We're just another brick in the wall. We're working in companies that are in thousands. We're far away from the best people in the company. We're working clockwork like a robot, not really measuring what is it that we're good at, not really measuring what is it that makes us happy, not really measuring what it is that truly makes us fulfilled, and we do it because we get a salary at the end of the day. So if you're someone who doesn't like her job or doesn't like his job and is just in a position where you don't have any financial responsibility or you don't have to earn for a living, number one thing is you thank yourself and you thank your stars and you be grateful for where you are in your life, because this is a point of privilege. And number two is you chase whatever is it that you wish to do. Carve out yourself in a way that you realize what is it that you're truly good at, what you love doing, what makes you happy, so that if you do it for long enough, you are able to compound that and you become truly magical in your way and in your scheme of things in the entire world order. You're one of the few people out there who thoroughly enjoys their work and enjoys it to such an extent that it doesn't feel like work. But you'll only get to that point if you spend time in chasing chairs, not in sitting on the one that you just got. I hope this helps in some direction, but if there's anything that you wish to know more about how this thought process comes about and what is it that you can do about it, please write into the comment section and that will help me address any more questions that may come my way. In other things, if there are other questions that you want to address and you want me to speak about on Warikoo, I'm more than happy. Write about that in the comment section as well. And until the next episode, I will see you all. Have a wonderful week ahead. Bye. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that whenever we put up a new video, you're aware of it.